Marine lieutenant shut down a Navy commander. I work in big law and have for several firms. My story happened late in the last century at a former employer. This firm would frequently set up war rooms. During discovery, hardware IT, that is, me and my supervisor, would set up rows of computers. Over 60 was our largest, if I recall correctly, for contract attorneys to review gazillions of scanned documents. 25 to 40 seemed about the usual number. One day, we got a call from a partner, and he was pissed. Half of a huge room was down, and they were losing tons of money and time. Did I tell you my supervisor was a Marine lieutenant, had served in Vietnam, had confirmed kills, and the only person in the firm who wasn't terrified of him was me? It's important to the story. So, the LT and I head down and start troubleshooting. The first thing we noticed was that a lot of the switches were on the floor, not on the tables where we had put them. Second, one or two of them were powered off right next to vacuum cleaner tracks. Clearly, the vacuums from the cleaning crew hit the power buttons, and the fix was easy peasy. The LT and I got them on the tables, and he left to talk to the partner. The partner got even more pissed. Smoke practically poured from his ears, and he spoke down to the LT. "I thought you said this was fixed." Did I mention the partner had graduated from Annapolis, left the Navy with the rank of commander, was half as old as the LT, and thought his poop didn't stink? It's important to the story. The LT got on another table to trace cables. We had some Netgear switches daisy-chained together with the cable from the wall feeding number 1 on a switch, and the last port on that switch feeding number 1 on the next switch in the chain. That was the original setup when we set up the room. It was the LT who found it, a cable from the wall into number 1, and number 8 on that switch back into the wall. It would have been hilarious if everyone who wasn't me knew what was about to happen. The LT called me over, pointed out the issue, and told me to call the network admins after I fixed the cabling. He turned around slowly and did something that never happens in either the military or a big law firm. The Marine LT support guy pointed to and growled at the Navy commander partner. "Come with me," was all he said. The commander partner followed him into the hallway like a puppy. I saw the looks on the faces of the contract attorneys, and some were amused, some were confused. Most of them thought they were better than me because they had law degrees, but only 2 or 3 seemed to realize some poop was about to hit the fan. I called the admins to get the switch reset. The LT and partner returned, and they were both pissed. The LT spoke first. "Mr. Partner told me if there were ever any issues with your equipment, you were to call one of the supervising associates," while pointing to a whiteboard with names and extensions listed. It's obvious that not only was some equipment moved, but when problems developed. After the vacuum cleaners hit the power buttons, you did not call the supervising associate and tried to fix it yourselves. I'm only going to ask once, who tried to fix this issue? Dead silence, if only because I managed to stifle my laughter. I will say the looks on a lot of faces told me they were beginning to figure things out. The partner spoke up. "Last chance. Who messed up the cabling?" "Nothing, not even crickets or stifled laughter from me." After a few moments, the partner picked up a phone and dialed an extension. "Associate, call the temp agency and get 40 new attorneys in here. These guys are all fired." To their credit, the 3 guys who messed things up then spoke up, saving the temp jobs of everyone else. But for not speaking up, all the other attorneys had their music privileges taken away, no headsets, and they weren't given lunch on Fridays like the contract attorneys on other jobs were.